Today we'll go over on a topic that was posted last week on the forum. The title is Teaming Post Start is Still Teaming. A player named A Gambit of Clowns posted this complaint. I would like to thank Gambit of Clown for bringing up this topic. I think it's important to cover this topic whether you are a beginner or advanced with a rating over 2000, which is why I made this video. We'll do an analysis of the game together later in this video. Now, let's get started. Yes, this will sound like this was brought up before, but this is a very clear example. I don't understand why admins can take action on this. Not only there is in-game evidence, but chat evidence too. I believe this is a problem that the site has created, as when explaining how to play the game, it has given players license to team. Yes, for the first part of the game, the sides naturally have their pieces both aimed at you, so it is an advantage to keep you opposite in and work with them. He's referring to players who are facing each other are not attacking at the beginning of the game, and in many cases they eliminate one player by collaborating together. If you guys saw my previous videos, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, or even if you're an experienced player and haven't watched my videos, you probably understand as well. Gambit of Clowns is referring to quick mates, checkmates usually executed in less than 5 moves. Now let's continue. But there are many advantages, and this is only one. But people take it as permission to team. In this game, the opponent to my right, red, checkmated my opposite. The player to my left, yellow, said keep your queen because blue is all over you, and he didn't take red's queen. This is teaming in a game. Teaming doesn't just happen before games. Why is it so hard to understand? I know it's harder to police, but this is quite an obvious example. At this point, the game was about evenly balanced as you can get, probably only 20 moves in. According to the rules, it is strictly prohibited to chat like this, like telling an opponent, don't do this, don't do that, take this, let's attack him, etc. No, this is strictly prohibited. If you do that, it's a bit violation against the rules. You can get banned from the chat, or even your account can be permanently banned. And this is exactly what happened. So as you can see, here is the chat. Nice, thanks. You see my ass. Hehehe. Keep your queen. Blue is all over you. And then red didn't take the queen. And then that's what happened. Sad to see watching your game, and the rest of the chat is just pointless to go on. Here's the game. Let's analyze it together. Gambit of Clowns was blue, so we're looking the game from blue's perspective. Red starts the game by pushing the pawn, and the rest pretty much did the same thing except yellow, who took out the knight instead of pushing the pawn. In turn 3, everyone just took out their knight or pushed the pawn. Looks like blue and yellow are trying to get a second queen. So far, there was no engagement. As you can see, no one scored a point. If you look at yellow, he or she is trying to prevent blue from promoting the pawn into a queen. Red takes out that queen, and this is where it gets interesting. Red is aiming on green, and green made a huge mistake by pushing the pawn, which gave red an access to check with the king. Since the beginning of the game, yellow's knight was blocking the path for the queen, so yellow simply moved the knight. Green checked yellow, and blue took advantage of this situation by taking red's knight, since red was likely to be threatened again. Green made another mistake by taking the pawn with the rook. As you can see, red opened the path for the queen, which will lead to a checkmate by red, and it did. It took 14 moves to eliminate a player. 14 moves. Is it a lot? I don't think that's a lot, but if you compare to quick mates, obviously that's a lot. Red checkmated green, and if I was yellow, I would have taken the queen. This is where yellow said on the chat that I showed you guys previously, which was a violation of the rules. So, this is where Gambit of Clowns decided to resign and the game just went on. I'm not gonna go into this since this is not the point of the video. You guys might be wondering why you cannot see the chat. That's because the game was removed from Gambit of Clowns archive. Remember in the previous video where I was talking about saving the game? If you already have 40 games in your archive, then every time when you play your game, the oldest one will be removed. Now, let's go back to the post. Alright, so we're back in the post. Now, Chessmaster GS replied to the post, "The game was less than half an hour ago, and you want the team to have reviewed it already? It's not like Chess.com, Play's Fair Play team, is any faster about it. They take days to process simple reports in comparison, and then you bring up something along the lines of encouraging teaming, which is ridiculous." So this post was actually removed by Gambit of Clowns after when I checked this post another time recently. Yeah, obviously Chess.com is a 9 to 5 company. It's not just Chess.com, but most companies have 9 to 5 system. So even if you report an incident during the weekend or during the evening, you're not going to receive a reply because pretty sure that no one will be working at that time. Yes, and some reporting takes few days. I think it really depends on what kind of reporting you're talking about. And then Gambit of Clowns replied, "I'm not sure what I said that makes you think I expected the team to have reviewed it. Never mentioned that. But this seemed to be an issue I've noticed in multiple games. I've given an explanation why I think the site seems to have encouraged this, or at least players reference this advice on how to play the game, as why it is okay in-game team. I say the site also encourages, or perhaps a better word is enables, it as they don't punish in-game teaming and pretend as if teaming can only happen if it is pre-arranged before a game starts. If you have an explanation as to why what I'm saying is ridiculous, great." So yes, Gambit of Clowns is right. He never mentioned that he expected to the Chess.com team to review his report right away. No, he never mentioned that. But I do agree with Chessmaster GS that it takes time to report it. But yeah, definitely. I agree with what Gambit of Clowns says because I also agree that about the Gambit of Clowns reply because you cannot play an FFA game or free for all with a friend. You can only play with a friend if it's a team game because you can simply team up with your friend and then knock out the other two player and then decide who will be the winner. No, that's unfair. That's why you cannot play. That's why you cannot play an FFA game with a friend. Because the probability of meeting your friend in a game is not that high from what I see. Because there are some traffics as well. So in other words, it's not easy to do something like this, but I don't think it's impossible. Pre-arranged before a game starts. This is not something not easy to do because do you think you can meet someone that you know before a game starts? Would you discuss it? So this is just my personal opinion. I don't think they pre-arranged it. I think they just said on the chat, "Don't take the queen, etc." And both of them agreed to team up together. Don't get me wrong. They might be friends. I haven't checked out if they're friends or not. But one thing for sure is that they decided to team up together. In other words, they decided to collaborate to eliminate Gambit of Clowns. And that's the violation of the rules. And after that, I replied, "I've been through this as well when I was a beginner. I was like you when I started for PC. I thought they teamed up to eliminate me. A lot of people have a misconception about your kind of situation, and I used to be one of them. I even met people who refused to play for PC because they told me two players team up to eliminate one player. If you guys watched the video Myth of 4-Player Chess Debunked, that's what I mentioned. Two players team up to eliminate one player. Now let's continue. However, you must understand that it's not because they are teammates. The players facing each other are not attacking since they don't want three players striking them simultaneously. So yes, remember 4-Player Chess Theory, the video? If you guys watch the video 4-Player Chess Theory, or if you're an advanced player over 2000 rating, you understand what I'm talking about. Another reason is to facilitate their game. If they cooperate to eliminate a player, there will be 3 players on the board, which will make their match easier. But the moment one player is checkmated, they will eventually have to fight because there will only be one winner, not two. So yes, keep in mind that in FFA, there's only one winner, one, not two winners, just one. So there's no such thing as team. There are cases when the players facing each other are not fighting until they are the only one alive on the board, but that is a mistake because if one of them is becoming too powerful, then that player will end up winning the game. This is also very common because I've been in many situations where there were 3 players that left in the game, and I was one of them. Now the problem is one of them was pushing their pawns massively, and they got multiple queens, and the other player didn't stop attacking me. I had no other choice to retaliate. But the problem is the other player would end up winning the game, and that player's was quietly promoting the pawn, while me and the other enemy, we were busy killing each other, and the player with the queen army ended up winning the game. This is a situation that you guys will face in case you're a beginner or if you're thinking to start playing for PC. If you have a rating over 2000, I'm pretty sure you've been to this situation as well. Now let's continue. Like you mentioned, yellow told red to keep the queen. That's a violation of the rules. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do other than reporting. Don't expect that you will receive a reply quickly from chess.com. Yes, and that's right. There's nothing you can do about this other than reporting. In order to receive a reply from chess.com, it might take several days. And here we go, the last paragraph. In order to prevent this kind of situation again, I would highly recommend you to block the chat when the game starts. So yes, I don't think I mentioned it in the past, but you can block the chat when you start the game. Anyone can do it. If one of the players block the chat, then no one will be able to communicate. I have seen players doing this because if chat is allowed, similar situation can occur, and trust me, I have seen it. I know that you are pissed off, but you should just move on. I hope this video can make you better to understand your situation. I'm pretty sure Gambit of Clowns was pissed off, but there was nothing he could have done it. Even if I was in his spot, there was nothing I could have done it. When you face this kind of situation, you should just move on. And if you want, you can report it. This is a link about 4-player chess theory. If you guys haven't watched it, please make sure to do so. Now, let's look at other replies. And then Gambit of Clowns replied to my post. Thanks for taking the time to write this out. I understand though that there are times where it is to one's advantage not to take free piece, but this situation was not it. Even if there wasn't chat communication, it doesn't take much brain power to understand what happened, especially if the players are experienced. That's where I feel players lose etiquette and take advantage of an unwritten rule to mount all their forces at the opposite less player. I didn't feel like rewarding them, so I resigned. If I was Gambit of Clown, I would have continued playing, but it was pointless for him to continue the game. I suppose you're right just to let it go. It's maybe the beauty of FFA 4-player chess that people will do all sort of things. I should even out in the long run. And if I do better, I'll be playing against more refined players. I like the narrator's voice on the video. Thanks again for sharing. So thank you for Gambit of Clowns again for admiring my video. Gambit of Clowns is right because people do all sort of things in FFA. You'll see all kinds of situations. Now, there are people sacrificing their queen when there are 3 players because they don't want one player to be eliminated. They don't want one player to checkmate another player. In other words, they want to prevent a player to get 20 points. And yes, it happens in reality. And then, here's another reply. Typewriter 44. I disagree. Disregarding prior communication, if yellow takes red's queen, red may become angry at yellow and give the win to blue down the line, so a case can definitely be made that it is in yellow's best interest not to take red's queen. But I agree with your sentiment. Yellow in particular was clearly using chat illegally. Nothing you can do but report, block, and move on. I don't disagree with Typewriter 44. I wouldn't say that yellow would give the win to blue, because even if you take someone else's queen, you never know who the winner will be. It's FFA, so the result is unpredictable. Anything can happen. Even if yellow takes red's queen, red might still end up winning the game because red can simply push the pawns, and yellow would try to prevent it, but it's not going to be easy. So I don't disagree with this. I don't agree with the fact that blue would win the game. Then let's look at the other replies. Gambit of Clowns replied, thanks for the reply, Typewriter Man. This is a fascinating game to ponder. In short, so in your reasoning, the only time you can take a piece is if you are going to make a main, otherwise you might make someone mad. When then it is to take a piece without risk making someone mad. In long, whatever happens, this is a FFA. There's someone will be mad at for sure. That's just the game how it works. It doesn't matter whether that player is mad or not. The point of the game is to win. That's the ultimate goal. In order to win, you have to take pieces from all opponents, not all, but at least two, and even checkmate at least two or one of them, depending on the situation. You cannot win an FFA game without checkmating and without taking any piece. That's something impossible. It doesn't exist, that kind of victory. So let's continue. I get not wanting someone to have a grudge. I've been both sides on that coin. But in this situation, if we applied that thinking, nobody would take anybody's pieces. The reason the red was able to make the checkmate is because yellow's queen was providing the support. So yes, remember a few minutes ago the move that I showed you like this? Red was able to checkmate green because yellow's queen path was open like this. It was a very deliberate act by red. Red gets the 20 points, which puts red in the lead. That would be the trade-off. Otherwise, the game is very balanced and red would get to keep a 20 point for free. Yes, that's right. When you make a checkmate like this, it doesn't come for free. You're sacrificing your queen, but that wasn't the case for red. Red got a free 20 points. And relatively speaking, we're only talking about a queen early in the game, which red just checkmated someone with, but then red can handle losing a queen. I have done many quick mates in the past, and I can totally handle losing a queen. It's not a big deal, and I got my queen back. Now, there were some games that I lost the game and I won the game. After doing this, it really depends on the game, but that's just the way how it works. In FFA, you gotta learn how to sacrifice your pieces, especially your queen, if you want to win, or if you want to a checkmate. And then Typewriter44 replied, it depends on the situation, I think. I'd say it makes sense for yellow to take the queen and doesn't make sense for red to get upset at having his queen taken in this case. But I've seen countless similar instances where players will throw the game just because another player played a move they don't like. Yes, it totally makes sense that yellow would have taken red's queen, but that didn't happen. I've been through a situation like Typewriter44 mentioned. Guys, keep in mind that this is FFA. If you're under the rating of 2000, you will eventually face this situation. For those who are thinking to start for PC or who just started for PC, you'll face this kind of situation. It's obviously better to understand the situation instead of reporting it again. No matter what happens, in FFA, someone will be mad. That's just the game how it works. If nobody takes anyone's piece, if no one attacks each other, then the game is never gonna end. It will take forever. It just doesn't make sense. There has to be a winner, and in order to win the game, like I mentioned previously, you have to take pieces and checkmate the opponents. That's just the way how it works. If you face a situation like this, when you can, you just have to take the queen. Even if you don't take the queen without saying on the chat, then you guys will have to duel against one player when there will be only two players left, including yourself. And there will be only one winner, not two, one winner, okay? I've been through a similar situation as well, and I was pissed off many times when two players teamed up against me to eliminate me. Some players even said on the chat what they should do or what they should not do. And trust me, you will have to hold a grudge against someone. And that also happened to me. A player just was constantly attacking me even though he or she was struggling. That player was holding a grudge on me. He later ended up resigning. Obviously, when the game starts, you want to win the game, but unfortunately, there will be only one winner. All four players want to win, right? But it can't be four winners. There will be only one winner. That's just the reality, okay? That's it for today's video. Thanks again, Gambit of Clans, for posting this. I appreciate it. It was nice to have a debate like this on the forum. So thanks for all of you who replied to this post. And most importantly, thanks those who've been watching until the end. The next video, it will be something entertaining that you guys will watch. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.